Hey, Bear. Bear, you're full of sawdust, buddy. What's going on? Oreo isn't. So Ikier reached out to me and asked if I wanted to test out their new K1 Pro Max combo kit. Well, I didn't want to turn them down because this is a true 70-watt laser head here. So yeah, of course I wanted to try this thing out. So let's go ahead and see what this thing can do. Now this is going to be a full unboxing and setup video. So if you're quickly bored or don't want to see it, by all means, please skip ahead. I won't blame you whatsoever. So this is just the laser itself. There's actually 4 boxes to this whole system. So let's go over some of the specs for the Ikier K1 Pro Max 70-watt combo. This is the world's first 70-watt desktop laser cutter, and actually it might be listed a little bit less than what it actually is. It's close to actually 77 watts. It has 410 by 410 engraving area, 1 key autofocus. It has an engraving speed of 900 millimeters per second. It has safety protection like fire, tilt, and a key switch. It has intelligent air assistant with heat dissipation, built-in air assist that is actually software controlled, sinking, cutting, and linear rail. What is nice is that this laser is practically assembled for you. All you are is going to be basically putting on the gantry and plugging in your laser module. And that's practically it. Compared to the last one, you had to assemble everything. Make sure you look in the foam a lot, because I almost threw this box out and yeah, missed some stuff. You want to move your rails all the way down. Make sure that they're as far down as possible. There are 2 zip ties here that's preventing this gantry from flopping around even more. So go ahead and remove those first. Then there's this cover that you're going to need to just take off here and put to the side. Each of the steps are marked on the bags. And look, not that many steps. And on each side, you're going to go ahead and put 2 screws in. And then you're going to put the cover on and then put 4 screws over the cover. Now let's go over the module itself. It is a beast. It's a 455 nanometer. It's a laser is a 70 to 75 watt. Spot size is 0.15 millimeter, 0.2 millimeters for the 70 watt, and 0.1 to 0.15 for the 35. It has a switch. Engraving precision is 0.01 millimeter. It has air assist built in, cross positioning system, 1 pass wood cutting at 28 millimeters, 1 pass black acrylic cutting at 25 millimeters, and flame detection. Mounting the laser is really easy. You have 2 hidden grub screws. You slide it in and plug in 2 cables and you're set. Plug in your display with the HDMI cable and it's held on with a magnet. Don't forget to select your voltage for your country. And you'll notice it has 36 volt and 24 volt. And you have these cables at the end. They're marked. So on your panel here, you will see that you have a 36 volt and right there, plug it in. Now these are 2 separate sizes, so it's pretty hard to mess up. And then on the side here, you got your 12 volt. And go ahead and plug in your 12 volt cable in here. Again, pretty darn easy. And I quickly noticed that, yeah, my little setup table is too little for this thing. I don't know what to do. So I quickly crunched over to Home Depot and got myself a sheet of MDF. I cut it down to 35 by 48. So, yep, this should kind of fit everything. You have room for the left side for your air assist and your power supply and even maybe a laptop. However, this combo has an enclosure. Oh boy.
I remember this one. It takes a while.
So, off with the laser and anything else. Look at all these screws.
There's a lot of screws.
41, 18, 6, 6, and some spares, and this is what you get to use to assemble them. Oh.
Let the carpal tunnel begin.
Absolutely no way that I'm going to use an Allen wrench. Now I have to say packing I thought was really good on this, and this could be the shipper's fault. But I'm going to just use a pair of needle noses to straighten this out the best that I can. Again, it could be the shipping, but let's just see if I could straighten this out and just continue on with the build. And it looks like we got another one that's slightly dented as well. So we're going to do the same thing. Take our needle noses and try to do some body shop work on it. Looks okay. Now that I think about it, I should have probably put like a towel in there to help prevent any scratches, but oh well. Now there's a lot of screwing going on around here. And this is the left panel, and now we're doing the right panel. Of course, this is facing you. And yep, that's the dented one. No good. I peeled back a little bit of the protective film so it doesn't get scratched during assembly. Now we're going to screw down the rear cover. And there's a good amount of screws for this as well. Now we're going to take out the front lid. It has the camera you'll see on top. And screw in the hinges. Then we're going to screw in the front where the handle is. And get that last one out. Now there are 4 brackets that attach to the laser itself, and this is where the enclosure gets its rigidity from. And that was done off camera because there's literally just 2 brackets in the front and the back, and they attach from the bottom. And would you guess it? Yep, we got 8 screws for the front. And don't worry, I didn't miss that one. I'm going to put that one in later. Had a little bit of a difficult time screwing. Yes, I did. And now we get to screw 8 more times in the rear. I think I said that wrong. And now we can start peeling some of the protective film off. Of course, you could do this whichever way you want. I just decided to save this step for last. Unfortunately, saving this for last, I did pinch a little part of it in the lid and I was unable to get it out. So yes, I'm going to have to unscrew and rescrew to get that little piece off. And then you're going to just wire everything together. And now you have an enclosure that says Ikier Stadio instead of Studio. This is massive, very massive, and I would not suggest transporting it around. Look at the size of that laser module. Wow. Well, that was pretty complicated. But you know what's not complicated? Today's video sponsor, PCBWay. Are you looking for a PCB manufacturer? Are you looking for rigid, flexible PCBs? Are you looking for them to assemble them for you? Well, they can. And they also offer other services such as 3D printing, injected molding, and CNC. Heck, they even have a community section where you could buy a project and assemble it on your own. If you're looking for any of these services, please reach out to PCBWay. And I would like to thank PCBWay for sponsoring today's video of the Ikier K1 Pro Max 70 watt laser. Now you can find some settings to get you started on Ikier's website for the 70 watt Pro. Again, this has a switch on the side and you'll see that some of these say 35 watts and others say 70 watts. And again, with any type of material, you want to try to sample it first. So just to make sure you're good. However, it says galvanized here. Do not, I repeat, do not try to laser engrave galvanized. It is extremely toxic. So I'm going to suggest that Ikier takes that off. But you will see here you have some now for the 70 watt. And yeah, it could definitely cut some really thick materials. However, just because it can, doesn't mean that you should. Because you're going to be really slowing down this laser and there could be a chance of fire. Now, setup is really easy in Lightburn. Once you have it powered on, plug in by USB, you're going to click on next and it's going to automatically detect it, which is great. You're going to choose add device and you're going to just name it to whatever you want. You can just choose Ikier 70. You're going to make sure auto home is off and then click on the front left. Hit finish. And if this is the one that you're going to be using all the time, just go ahead and say, oh, you know what? I'm going to make it my default. And I'll always try to connect to it first. Now, it actually comes with this Lightburn calibration card for your camera. Now, there's plenty of videos out there, and I'm going to just go ahead and link it down. Now, when it comes to calibration, you want to make sure that, yeah, when it's time to use these cards included, tape them down. because the cooling fan on the top will blow them away. Also, line the bottom with some white paper during the camera calibration. It'll make the process so much easier. And one of the first things I like to do on MDF is engrave a spoil board. Of course, I didn't design this. I'm too lazy. I went onto Etsy and I found one, and I downloaded it, and the link will be in the description below. I found at 3000 millimeters per second at 24% power on the 36 watts, wind up creating a real nice crisp laser engraving. Having a spoil board has many benefits. First off, if something engraves, past it, it will just go onto the spoil board and won't like ruin the surface. Maybe you have a real nice workbench or something. Also, it is great for aligning parts. So, I mean, if you are just want to use the orientation, say this is where it's at, guess what? It's right there. So it's really, really easy to line up your parts by having a spoil board. Then you also have something to attach the laser to. This does have 4 mounting screws that you can go ahead and now attach it to the spoil board to make it easier to move the machine around. So let's test out the spoil board and the camera. See how easy it is to align something. Oh, and also this enclosure, it has limit switches, so it knows if it's open or closed and will automatically stop the job if the lid is open. And this is cedar, so we're going to try 10,000 millimeters per second at 25% power, and we are going to create an outline here and laser engrave this pen, and let's see how well it comes out. So I looked through the lid and I noticed that it wasn't as dark as I would like. So I'm going to go ahead and move another one over here, and we are going to hit refresh, and we're going to increase the power to let's say 40. And this is for the 36 module. Since we have 2 layers, let's go ahead and do the other layer as 40% power as well. That way both of them are at 40. Now I purposely had one offset a little bit more than the other, so let's see how well that came out. And again, this is cedar, so let's go ahead and take a look. Wow, that is pretty darn accurate. Look how nice and fine the detail is, and you can see that I did move it up a little bit, and it looks really, really nice. The camera is very accurate. Really impressed, and look at how nice and detailed this is. So, yep, I'll be using this camera a lot more often, I would believe. So next, I decided to do some rock coasters, and if anyone's done rock coasters before, yeah, you know that they're a pretty good seller. Now I decided to create one for the husband for this daily value, and that's because I purchased one off of Etsy, and it was for the wife. I could not find a good one for the husband. I laid out 9 of them, and let's see how well they came out. Right away I could tell these are pretty much dead on center, and again, this is through the recommended settings that Ikier says, and this is at the 35 watts with a 60% power. So yeah, these are very legible, and I'm thoroughly impressed with how accurate this camera is. None of them are skewed or anything, so you definitely want to take your time to make sure that all of them are nice and centered. But yeah, and having that along with the spoil board definitely helps, and also contrast. So the spoil board is definitely a different color, and that also helps. Now this is the files I was talking about that I purchased off of Etsy. Unfortunately, I do not have that listing anymore because the person, I don't know, just isn't selling it. So I don't have the link anymore. You might be able to find someone else that's selling something similar, but this is the wife coaster. And again, my daughter sells these at craft shows, and they are a hit. At first, I only had the wife coasters, and everyone asked about the husband, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I need to make one for the husband. So let's go ahead and take a look at these. And again, very well centered. Now you're going to have these chipped edges, so not all of them are going to be that the same dimensionally. So you'll see the line on the bottom is across some of the chipping, and some of them are not. But every one of them is nice and centered. Now, when you go ahead and compare the two, the wife has a nice bigger font compared to the husband. Yeah, it just sells better that way. So I don't know why. Maybe so, but you'll see that the wife has a lot more higher percentages for certain things. Now, I really enjoy lasering glass. And with a 455 nanometer laser, you're going to have what's called an interface layer to make sure that it actually engraves. And personally, I like using tempera paint. And the reason why, it just washes off with just hot water. And this is a little bit too thick. So what I do is I have a small little Ziploc bowl, and I just do a 50% water to 50% tempera paint. And all I do is take a spoon and I just ladle it over the glass. Then I just tilt the glass around until it's nice and level. And about 12 hours later, you have a nice, dry, perfectly level, nice surface to start laser etching. Pretty easy and simple, and you can do large batches. Unfortunately, you really can't utilize the camera because honestly, it's just now too close. So you're gonna have to just now rely on framing. For here, I did 6,000 millimeters per second at 60% power. And this is the result. So let's go ahead and push this back and take a look at the etched glass. And it is very crisp. Look at that. And of course, what I did was I mirrored the image and I did it on the back. But I had a little bit of a boo-boo. Look at that. I have tempera paint on the other side and it etched now the front and back. So all I did was wash it off with some hot water and you can see the boo-boo right on the top. Yep. So you want to make sure that only one side has the tempera paint. Otherwise, you can have etching on both sides. Now this is permanent. You can actually feel the etch. So definitely want to make sure that tempera paint is, again, only on one side. And biohazard cutting board. If you live in my house and have the wife cook, definitely makes sense. But I know everyone's asking, well, how deep does it cut? And it will cut very deep. And again, this is more about efficiency than really raw power, because the higher power of the laser, the faster your jobs can be. Now this is 1/2" poplar, and I'm going to just throw this Love Dog logo on here, and we're going to do a cut through on one single pass. I was originally going to go with 200 millimeters per second, but I'm going to drop it down to 150 at 90% power at the 70 watts. Now this is under time lapse, definitely not going this fast, but I could clearly see that it is going all the way through. And I guess I could have gone a little bit faster because it is cutting it through like butter. I mean, I personally will not go above a 1/2" for cutting through anything. What's nice about this, it does it easily with one pass. And at this speed, I'm not really at risk for any flare-ups or a fire. But you should never leave your laser unattended. Always keep it supervised at all times. I can already tell that this has cut all the way through because all the parts have sunken down. And when you lift it, everything just falls right through. Very, very clean cut. Again, I think I went a little bit too high in power, and my spell board definitely needs to be cleaned a little bit. So as you see, a lot of the charring came through, but again, I could most likely have gone a lower power or a faster speed and lower power. But again, this is why you always want to sample your material. Very, very clean cuts. Yeah, there's charring. I mean, it's a laser. What do you expect? And the air assist did run because it's software controlled, and I enabled it. And the air assist was at maximum. There's your char. Not too bad, honestly. Cleans up really, really easily. Let's take a look at this V. And the reason why I'm pointing out this V here, because it's pretty easy to see. Let's turn it to the side here and you'll see that, look at the right, it's a little bit on the angle for that cut. So just letting you know that lasers, you're not going to get a perfect up and down cut. That's why it's better to use a saw sometimes. So what are my overall impressions? Well, between a spoil board and using the camera for low profile items, it is very accurate and it is a breeze to use. Of course, when you get into higher materials, the camera is not effective. So you're going to have to rely on alternative positioning, like framing with the laser. This is by far the most powerful 455 nanometer laser I have ever tested. And the quality is just amazing with what engravings you can achieve with this. And the overall machine build is really, really nice. Now, I did forget to mention about the touchscreen. Yes, this actually has a touchscreen. It's kind of generic. It doesn't really give you many options. You click on settings and you have tilt detection, flame detection, autofocus, resume engraving, touch sound, and auxiliary positioning. Not much going on there, and those are basically on-off commands. So if we plug in our USB, and then you could do, I guess, batch jobs if you so choose, and that's basically going headless. So that's about it. Very plain. I really love the fact that this has autofocus. You could just press the button, it'll focus the laser, and I think all of them should have this. Well, a couple of negatives. Well, first, my cross positioning system did not work. You see no crosshairs on this cut. Didn't work out of the box. So I have a ticket open with Ikier. Hopefully I can get that resolved soon. It is massive. I mean, it's a lot of work surface. So don't be surprised when you order it. It's not a small machine at all. And that's even without the enclosure. And it's not advisable to move it around. And yeah, some of the enclosure parts did arrive bent. And I do not know if that was shipping or just poor packaging. I mean, everything did arrive in really nice dense foam, but yeah, it was kind of disappointing. The enclosure, it has a lot of laser light bleed through. I mean, almost everywhere. And Ikier says it's IEC 60825 laser certified, class 1. I don't know. With all that bleed through, I would definitely wear safety glasses if I were you. And Ikier also offers like a filtration system, but this laser just produces way too much smoke for this type of purifier. So I would suggest exhausting it out the window. Hopefully I've given you enough information in this video to see if this is a laser for you. So I really appreciate you tuning into Tripod's Garage. Please have a wonderful day, evening, or weekend, or whenever you decide to watch this video. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you the next time on Tripod's Garage.